Hey there, I'm Parker Rex. I led product and tech for a startup that did well over $50 million per year before we exited. After that, I tried my hand at launching a bunch of different startup ideas. There were some really dumb ones, but it coincided with all these agents coming into the scene. So I was using AI every day and coding pretty much every single day the last 3 years. Built a lot of different agents. And I'm really excited about this OpenAI launch. I feel like there's been some bad ones before, but this one seems different and definitely plays into the stuff that I've been building where I've struggled to kind of get deterministic answers out of agents. And I just want to go through it and then also talk about this like battle between agents because there's like no code stuff that's handling certain use cases. And then there's some stuff that seems overkill to even code. I don't know. So let's just go through it. So, first of all, I wanted to talk about the challenges that I faced with one of the products that I tried to get off the ground, but the UX is just crap. But it's basically, and like so you further understand that I've experienced these agent problems. This product is called Map, and it's basically like a 5-in-1 productivity thing. It came out of the problem that I had, where it's just like I have all these goals, and I wish I could just become the best version of myself. If I could train a model that was the best version of Parker, God, that'd be really cool because it could use biometrics to help me with my workouts and keep me on track and nudge me. I trained it at first to be like a David Goggins coach. It was way too extreme. Then I had to dial it back. Didn't have any context of who I was, like beyond just like the goals that we set together. So then I started feeding it information. Then I was like, this would be really cool if I just took every app and the doc and put it in one place. So then you get the health dashboard and then you get, your basic to do app, which is a meme in itself. But I try to make it cooler by just adding some of the stats and then having accountability on the calendar where if you had a plan for a marathon and you wanted to be really good at training and sticking to that, then the plan would be personalized. I started with health because it's more objective. But you can start to see there'd be a lot of information because, like, if you have one of these that's sending information 3 times a second, 86,444 times a day, the database starts filling up pretty fast. And then, how do you get all these agents to kind of work together? You need your tasks in there, you need your notes in there because, cursor for notes would be dope. And I don't want to go anywhere else to then have to paste that context in. Also had a full-blown Google Calendar clone. I can't click on this full transparency because it's not running right now. I can click on it, but it's not gonna work. Um, but yeah, it had a drag and drop, basically the week view perfectly planned out. And point is like getting all those agents to kind of talk to each other, really hit or miss. Like it clearly hasn't worked because then, I didn't launch it. I launched a version of it, but it wasn't very good. And as we all kind of know, like the way that these agents work, and I'm hoping this SDK helps, is there's a lot of stuff under the hood that's going on. So, as an example, with like when you look at perplexity, everyone's always using that, and they're like, "Tell me about Elon Musk and Tesla." And so here's like a really vague query that I'm going to write, but then it comes back with a bunch of links and then an answer with a summary, probably something that's ranked highly on SEO because, yeah. And then it'll have more links and I can click on follow up. And then it usually has like additional questions. Cool. So under the hood, this project's really helpful for kind of understanding how this stuff works, but I think it's going to get destroyed. Um, Not this tool in particular, but the way that we think about agents where you have all these files and they represent different tools in here. So when I go and I actually make the search, then it's going to call this search query. It's going to have this file that represents the search, and then the search might go to a retrieve. The retrieve might go to a query suggester if it was an unclear query. Then they might do the researcher. The task manager is kind of like the fork in the road. So it's like, as a professional web researcher, da 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 da. Um, and I did the same thing with Map, where it was like, if you didn't have enough questions or enough information about the person, and they said, I want to run a marathon by the end of this month. You're like, well, okay, well, do you want help just with the running plan, or do you need to get shoes, or do you need a nutrition plan? Yada, yada, yada. So, all that said, let's get into how they're hopefully changing it. So, the new toolkit that they dropped has a bunch of different stuff in it, obviously. The web search, it's like most of these things aren't really new, but they're tying it up and making it into a nice toolkit to use, which we're going to test out. We're going to rebuild the thing that they had in the demo and fiddle around with that. And then I'm going to attempt to make a demo or an agent that I want, which I can just quickly look at my task manager and be like, here's all these things that I need to do. Can these agents do it for me? So in the demo, they basically speak for 20 minutes and they kind of jump around the horn where web search is what it sounds like, where now you can give the agent your ability to reach out to the internet for queries. That's cool. It's not that deterministic, but I guess it depends on what your output is. Like, what's the goal of the project? And my only hope with this is that these will have real business use cases. A lot of the stuff you see on the internet is like total fluff, and it's like a cool research project. And I've been the person doing the research project the longest, so I feel like I'm qualified to say that. But now I'm making money doing this sort of stuff, and I just hope that people build real things with it. A file search. This one's really interesting. So it kind of ties into what they're doing behind the scenes with their dashboard. Their dashboard's starting to look and feel much, much more like Stripe, where you have all these different things in here. It's kind of becoming this one-stop shop for everything AI, and I really like that. I hope that they don't gouge us on pricing, but having a vector store in here, it just begs the question of like, what the heck do you need Pinecone for? What do you need other dedicated vector store providers for when you just have it in here? As you can see, I haven't uploaded stuff in here in a long time because PG Vector. So that's the thing that would kind of prevent you from wanting to go into here or needing to go into here is because you can have it all under one roof with Postgres, but this is not a Postgres commercial. So file search, basically the update here is now you can give an agent the ability to do that. You could do that in an assistant here. So this has been like the easiest, most kind of rudimentary way to make one. Like I was learning about the Bible. I'm like, oh, here, eat this Bible and tell me answers. Um, and you could just literally name it, right? Give it the model, add file search, and then file search would reference a vector store that was done in here. So the real update is just that it's now given to this toolkit, which is nice. Hopefully it's quicker. Computer use, pretty cool. I'm not sure if you saw any of the demos of it when it came out, but they partner with some companies and it's kind of like, I don't know. It's like not, I can't think of the name, but it's the thing that it basically takes a screenshot and then it sends it back to the vision model and it ping pongs between the vision model and the next decision and then it prints out what the action was. If you're familiar with the IDE extension called Klein, Klein does a really good job of this. Where like if I let's see, I think I did an example of this today. No, they do the best job of this. If I could find an example, but it's kind of like how MCP is like really hot right now, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I can get logs," and you're like, "Yo, you could have done that before with Klein." But it'll take a screenshot of what's going on and then ping pong it back and forth between the vision model and answer that. And I think that's really awesome because now it's in this tool. So I think what they're doing will give devs this full toolkit where you can tie all of them together. The responses API, they basically just beefed up a new API, but let's look into it. I'm not the master. I'm just trying to give you the summary. Where's the docs? Responses API. I know we're gonna want that one, and then I know we're gonna want. Hmm, responses. I think they'd put a little star next to it or something. It's probably on their blog. What's new? Responses API. Okay. The responses API are two ways to interact with OpenAI's models. Great. So the responses API is not full feature dependent or feature matching, but combines the simplicity of the chat completion with the ability to do more agentic tasks. As the model evolves, the responses API is a flexible foundation for action-oriented applications with those tools built in. It's not going away. Don't get scared. Compare the code. Okay, so left side, right side. What I did notice is just the vernacular, like the syntax is a lot cleaner when I was looking at examples of it. But like for instance, this one, web search, so you just basically put and await a variable, then you pass it what the tools are that you want, and then the input that you want. And then you log it. Simple enough. File search. You are able to create the vector store. That's nice. I don't know. I've never done that via code, full transparency, but it makes sense because in map world, we were spinning up a new indice for each user. So this is the same thing. Okay. You can pass it the tools. Okay. Computer use, browser. I wonder what the variables are for environment. 'Cause I saw Linux earlier, so I was kind of confused because why would I guess they have spinning up a VM and then you could say, oh, I want Ubuntu. Not sure. Other noteworthy differences. So, okay. Key improvements make it flexible. Da, 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 da. Okay. Cool. I'm gonna start building something. I'm getting over just looking. So let's grab our little pen here because I want to scribble some stuff. So we obviously did all that stuff. We did that. We did that. We did that. We did that. We want to look. Let's look at this real quick. The SDK enables you to build generic agentic AI apps and a lightweight, easy to use package. So yeah, basically they just took Swarm and then they beefed it up. They allow for looping, Python first, handoffs. Got it. Okay, this was what was really cool. Was the tooling behind the scenes basically lets you see what happened in a GUI. That's awesome. And the function tools is another big one that they mentioned, where basically like they just read the Python function and turn it into whatever the thing needs, which is really cool. So we're gonna install this and run it in a sec. Um, what was the other thing I found interesting on there? Oh, this is just commentary where I feel like a lot of people that are building right now, and I've been that person, and I just want to call it out that they'll build stuff then like become the expert in some like meta skill that is valuable for all of like a month and a half. And they'll build all these crazy systems. And I don't want to name names, but especially on YouTube, where it's like you're over engineering stuff, like, and it's not making you money. It's not saving you time. So don't do that. So let's get this. Haha, look at Superbase complaining. You're so funny. Let's make a little directory. Make their new SDK. OAI new SDK, pip install OpenAI agents. And there's a guy who really just uses TypeScript all the time. I've gone out on the edge and tried to write other stuff, but I always get freaked out when I use pip because I've messed it up so bad in the past. Then I'm like, oh, I gotta use pipx or whatever. But seems like it worked. Oh no, hater is mad, but that doesn't matter. Who cares? So let's do a file and let's open up. Sir? Dash R? Sir? Gosh. So that's funny. I downloaded a I updated my ZSRHC because the YouTubers said that this new thing would be faster, but it didn't even open. So he was wrong. Let's look. We're gonna go through the same demo that they did. They built a stylist, a personal stylist, and they uploaded all these files of like what people wear at their company. And it was, I guess, a good use case because it covered all the bases of all the different tools. But it's something no one would ever do, which I think is weird. But basically, the stylist was able to figure out what the person would want to wear, and then look up shops where they could buy Patagonia vests in a city. So interesting choice. Now we want to hand type this because we're crazy. From agents, import agent and runner. Okay, easy enough. What else is you can? I wonder what else there is. Agent hooks. Oh, is that the computer? Computer. Okay, computer tool. I just want to know Just want to know what's in here. Run a workflow starting at a given agent. The agent will run in a loop until a final output is generated. The loop runs like so. The agent is invoked with the given input. If there's a final output, it terminates. If there's a handoff, we run the loop again. So handoffs are what you would see in this new fancy. Oh, wait a second. I thought it was in here. No, it's in the dashboard. You'd see it in this new traces thing. So they showed a demo of it after the personal stylus ran. And it shows you basically like which steps got handed off to, which did not. And it goes back to the combo at the beginning when I went through Morphic and I went through Map, where you have specialized agents for very specialized tasks. Then you chain them together. Chain's even a bad word now. So let's get that demo back up. Oh, I got to get an API key. 1 second. Let me move this off. Obviously, I need that. Yeah, and you're just getting a hello world. Great. That was awesome. It worked. So let's see what the trace was. Cool. We got a trace. No handoffs, and it took 2 seconds. What a good job. And then we can click in here. You can see that it hit the assistant. I can also see that I totally showed my environment variable regardless. So now I got to change that. That's awesome. Let me remind myself of that, even though probably 3 people are going to watch this, but change or rotate API key, due date in 1 hour. Cool. I kill for a Diet Coke right now. So I'm scratching my neck. Okay. So I can see the token count. I can see the response. I can see all this stuff. See, it's not that interesting when it's one thing, but it'll be more interesting when there's multiple things. So let's make multiple things. Yeah, I said poor example. I said that. I said that. And I said that. And I said that. Good. So now let's think of a good idea. I want to make an agent that can go to. I don't want to do anything with auth if I don't have to. How about I want to use computer use? How can we combine all of these things together? Let's just think of it. Hey, I'm a content creator and software engineer, and I want to test out OpenAI's new agent SDK that includes the following tools: web search, file search, computer use, responses API, and the agents SDK. And there's a couple things that I know I need. I need the ability to pull all my stats for all my different brand pages into a Google Sheet. That's one use case potentially. Another, I'm just going to ramble on use cases and then come back with something. Save me here. I need to do automated outreach for potential clients. I need to do, I want to be able to turn my 8 sleep up or down or off. That would be a poor use. Oh man, fellas, because there's no girls watching this. This is tough, fellas. I'm just going to ramble. Let's. Oh, that's it, fellas. This is not a video of me building one because I can't think of one. I don't want to sit here and come up with something really bad. So until I think of something that can come up with all 5, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Oh, man.